Hello, and welcome to my channel. On today's video, I will be reviewing Agatha Christie's murder mystery novel, Hercule Poirot's Christmas. This is the fourth Agatha Christie book that I've read. I've also read Crooked House, ABC Murders, and Cards on the Table, and this is the fourth, Hercule Poirot's Christmas. I'll be up front. I think this is a good book, a very good book, but I think it's the weakest of the four that I read, but still a very good book nonetheless. I think that Agatha Christie really has solidified herself as not only my favorite murder mystery novelist, but one of my favorite novelists. One thing that makes this book so great is it has differences from the other books while feeling very similar at the same time. Here's what I mean by differences. This book does not bring in Poirot as a character until well past a third of the way through the book. It's almost the halfway point that Poirot comes up. And I was very surprised, and I'll be honest, I forgot that this was called Hercule Poirot's Christmas because I was just so invested into the characters that I forgot that it was even a Poirot book. That's how good the book stands on its own without Poirot, and then Poirot was very good in the book itself. The book itself is set at Christmas time, and so rather than have normal chapters, 15, 20 chapters like most Agatha Christie books, this one has 7 chapters, and each chapter represents a different day, and with Christmas the Christmas day being the middle day. And this the murder happens at Christmas time around the family of the Lees. The setup for this book is quite similar to the setup for Crooked House, the first book of hers that I read that I loved, but also very similar to the setup to Knives Out, the Rian Johnson movie, which I loved, one of my favorite movies. And by this I mean you have an old member of the family who gets murdered, and all of his family members are visiting in town, and you don't know which one of them did it. And so the whole point of the book is trying to look at why each family member might want the patriarch of the family dead. And so it was just a wonderful book in that aspect, as you had characters who you think maybe they're nice and maybe they're not nice, and you don't know, and you're trying to navigate. And of course, Agatha Christie always does brilliantly with that in her books. One of the standout characters to me was the patriarch of the family who ends up dying, and his name was Simeon Lee. If you've ever watched Game of Thrones, his dialogue and his character reminded me quite a bit of Robert Baratheon, but older. And I think that Mark Addy would do a fantastic job if he just put on some makeup, looked a bit older, and played this character. I think that the similarities, their dialogue, their mannerisms just were cracking me up throughout. And he doesn't have that much page time, but when he is present, I really enjoyed him as a character. Other characters that I thought were really interesting were Pillar and Stephen. I found them both exotic and interesting, and they very much stood out from the rest of the family, which they were meant to in the book. And I was really invested to find out what happened to them, and I thought there were many big surprises in the book. There was some surprises. I was dead wrong on who the murderer was, but it was when I saw that I was like, ooh, that's a twist. I wasn't expecting that. So I thought the murderer was done really well. And then finally, I'd say that the biggest issue I have with the book is it doesn't have the same suspense that the other books had. For various reasons, Crooked House had, a ticking time clock of the main character. He can't marry the girl until he solves the murder. And in ABC Murders, people are dying constantly because it's a serial killer. So you have to catch the murder before he murders someone else. And in Cards on the Table, there are things happening, can't spoil it, that give it urgency. This book doesn't really have that sense of urgency. I mean, they want to find out so that they can read the will, but other than that, it doesn't have an urgent tone to it, and so it doesn't read quite as fast as some of the other Agatha Christie books, but still don't let that deter you. It is a wonderful book. I highly enjoyed reading this book. I give it an 8.7 out of 10. It just missed hitting 9.0. It was a seriously well done book. And I just think so far, Agatha Christie, she's done an excellent job with all 4 that I've read, and I will continue to read her over the next few months. So if you've read this book, let me know your thoughts. Did you guess who the killer was? Let me know down in the comments. Please subscribe to the channel. You'll see other Agatha Christie book videos, as well as other videos on my channel with all sorts of genres. But until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.